Hey guys, welcome back to Cracked Housing Fab. Today we're going to do some cool stuff with the Tacoma again. We're going to swap out some heavier duty springs. We're going to do some powder coating on some new wheels, and we're going to put some bigger tires on it. Stay tuned. Alright, super quick guys, update on the cross cart. It is over there. We're going to be working on it. It's just been super cold, and to be honest, I just didn't feel like working on it. But we're going to get that thing done, and we're going to show you guys because it's going to be a lot of fun. But moving on, we're going to do, so we need to, I put Bilstein 6112s on the Tacoma a while back. They're awesome, great shocks. But the problem is with the bumper and the winch, it adds a lot of weight. Probably 150 pounds, 200 pounds, somewhere in there. And so I bought some 650 pound springs to upgrade. These are EBOC, however you say that name. So I swapped these out for those shocks, so that way we can get a little bit more lift, because right now I think it's sitting about normal ride height, maybe a little bit higher. So I want to get that up a little bit higher so I can fit some bigger tires on here. Okay, so I got the strut out of the truck. Pretty straightforward. You can do it a couple different ways. I do it without a spring compressor. Be very careful if you do that way. It can be dangerous, so take your time and really think it through. So these are pretty cool, these 6112s. They're a larger diameter shock than the factory, so they're pretty beefy. And they have these lock rings that you adjust all these different heights. Probably going to drop this down a couple, because I think when I put the heavier spring rate, it's going to bring the front end up. I will need to get an alignment after this, so I have that scheduled. But yeah, so I'm gonna get this cleaned up and move that snap ring. One of the other things too, it's hard to tell maybe on camera, but the diameter of the actual spring is a little bit bigger. So obviously that's where the higher spring rate, the 650 pound spring rate comes in. I don't know what the stock ones or the original ones to the Bilstein shocks are as far as rate is, but these look pretty good. They're good quality. They're powder coated silver. Pretty sharp looking. So we'll get these switched over. I get this cleaned up, move my snap ring, and then we can start putting it back together. Okay, so I got the springs on. I got everything put back together. I didn't show you that part because it's just the reverse of what I did. So I'll show you what it looks like. Definitely sitting up considerably higher. It's kind of hard to tell, but it definitely is sitting up more. Maybe camera doesn't show it as much, but before, I mean, it was, you know, down here. It's came up maybe about 1.5 to 2 inches. Definitely allow us to fit some bigger tires on there now. So next part of the process of the transformation is I've bought a set of limited wheels off of a 4Runner, which I always love these 5-spoke wheels. So what I need to do, and actually I want to try to do, is do some powder coating. So I'm actually sprayed a little bit of aircraft remover on here to pull some of the paint off. Got the oven over there. Picked this thing up for 40 bucks. I can't beat that. Just gonna wire that in. I got a 220 plug over there. So you get the paint stripper on there, let it sit, let it pull the paint off, and then we'll go from there. But one thing I want to do really quick actually before I put the paint stripper on is I want to check. So what I'm going to do is pull a tire off, jack this up, block the front tires, and actually put the wheels on here, bolt them on really quick, and just see if they're round or if they're bent. These are just wheels I got from the junkyard. So I don't know the history of them, what kind of shape they're in. So I'm gonna do that and we'll see what they look like. Okay, so what you just seen me do, obviously did it, made sure that this wheel was true and round and not bent. First time I put it on, I forgot they had a zip tie where they put the tag for the junkyard. Pulled it off, and actually, because the first time I put it on, I thought it was bent, and then I took it off. I cleaned up the face of the wheel, cut that zip tie off there, and it spins nice and true now. So I'm going to do that same process for all the other three other ones. Okay, went through the other 3 rims. Everything looks good. They seem to spin nice and true. So now what I'm going to do is I'm actually pull the valve stems off, pull all the weights off, and then degrease, and then wash them all down. And then I think once we get to that point, we can throw some aircraft stripper on there. All right, so just so you guys know what I'm starting with, this is actually probably one of the better rims out of all of them, but the paint's peeling here. It's coming off right there. The inside's definitely nasty. This is probably the best one out of the 4 as far as back on the back side. So I'm gonna have sprayed those down with some degreaser, spray this one down, I'm gonna scrub them, and then we'll see what it looks like when I'm done. All right, it's a few days later. I have everything all cleaned up. Everything dried off. I'm actually going to try something different. I'm not going to use the chemical aircraft remover stuff. I bought one of those cheap Harbor Freight sandblasters and some glass beads underneath there. So actually I'm going to throw it in this box. I'm going to tape this up. This one's already sitting in there. I'll make sure it's going to fit. Throw a tarp in there and then see if I can catch most of the media and go from there. So I'm going to give it a shot. Let's see what happens. All right, guys, this is the setup. I have no idea if this is going to work, if it's going to make a huge mess. I'm sure it will, but I'm going to give it a shot. We're going to hook the sandblaster up and I'll obviously show you guys what happens. All right, so that last clip that you just seen was me sandblasting. Turns out it didn't work. Yeah, that whole thing was a pain in the butt, and it was definitely not worth buying that stuff for this application. So I went ahead and had these sandblasted. It cost me 15 bucks a wheel at a place local to me, and I can't beat that. I mean, that's like, I shouldn't even have wasted my time. So moral of the story is if you're doing this, I would encourage you to look for a place near you that does sandblasting, and they may not charge you much to do it at all. They did a really good job. So I'm actually going to get these all cleaned up, get some Dawn dish soap and scrub them really well and get all that sand off them. All right, guys, it's a couple days later. I let these sit here and dry. What I'm going to do is actually I'm preheating the oven to about 250. I'm going to throw these in there for a couple minutes just to make sure any moisture comes out. And then I got some prep spray down there in the bag that we're going to throw that on there. But I did do a test piece, and this is kind of how it came out. Hopefully that shows up on camera pretty well, but it's kind of like a darker bronze color, and I really like it. So I'm going to go ahead and get started on getting these prepped. All right, this is my setup. It's kind of weird. I've never done powder coating before, so except for that little piece that I made last night, but this is kind of my setup. Hanging it from up there from the garage door opener with an eyelet, and then I just got some wire. So that's kind of my setup. I'm hoping this works out. I'm gonna get it clean. I'm gonna spray it down with some prep spray and wipe it down, and then we're gonna go for it. All right, I have it all prepped. I taped off all the lug nut holes and everything, and on the back side too. So the next thing is we're gonna powder coat. Never done this. Let's see what happens. I'm not sure. And just so you guys know too, I'm using the Eastwood powder coating gun. I'll put a link down in the description for you. That way you guys can go check it out if you want to grab one yourself. It's actually pretty inexpensive. Well, I'm gonna see how this thing works. This is what it looks like. So this is kind of laid down pretty nice. Has like a dark gold or like a dark like bronze color to it. This is bronze chrome. Yeah, so now I have to try to get it in the oven without knocking the powder off. Shoot, I touched the lip of the rim. I gotta try that again. All right, here we go. Try number 2. All right, try number 2. Here we go. Gotta be careful I don't touch the top of the oven. All right, I got my oven set at 420 degrees. It says 400 degrees for 10 minutes. It's gonna take a little while for that rim to get hot. So I'm actually got an infrared, little laser thermometer. Just kind of keep an eye on it. And we're up to 140 degrees. So once it hits 400, it'll start to kind of lay out and get glossy. And then I will bake it for about 10 minutes at that temperature. See how it turns out. All right, it's been in here for about 15 minutes. You can kind of see that it's starting to glaze over. It's probably pretty close. It took about 6-8 minutes for it to get to about 400 degrees on the actual wheel. So I had to kind of wait for that to come up to temp. I'm gonna give it a few more minutes, and then I'm going to turn the oven off and let it cool down slowly and pull it out and see how it looks. All right, I got it out of the oven. It's still pretty warm, but it seemed like it laid out pretty nice. I got a couple of little spots that seem like right here in this little corner spot. It's not super thick there, so maybe I'll have to see what I can do on the next one, but I may have to throw a little bit more on this one and rebake it, and hopefully that'll help lay it out. But I think the color looked really good. It's hard to tell on camera, but yeah, I think it's like a dark bronze color. I'm really liking it. All right guys, it's a few days later. All 4 rims are done, powder coated, and actually I took them to have the tires put on. But before I show you guys what it looks like, I got to do the center cap. So I'm thinking what I'm gonna do is try to use some of that glass bead that I used earlier in the video to maybe sandblast this little piece and see how this is going to turn out. I found a color that's pretty darn close in spray paint, so I'm hoping it's going to turn out all right. All right guys, here we go. I actually sandblasted it up pretty nice. It gave it kind of like a little bit of a textured finish. I think the paint will stick really nice to that. So I'm actually going to clean this up. Well, I got to do the other 3, but I'll clean this up with some prep spray and then should be able to spray it. All right guys, I got these all prepped. I sprayed them down with some prep spray, cleaned them off. I found this color at Home Depot. I'm hoping that it's pretty close. It looks pretty close. It's a little bit lighter, but I'm going to use a black primer, and hopefully that will darken this up just a little bit and match pretty close. So I'm going to throw some paint on it. We'll see what happens. Okay, so I threw some primer down on there. That laid down really nice, looks nice and smooth and good. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the bronze paint on and see what that looks like. All right, there we go. They're all sprayed down, let them dry. It looks pretty darn close to what the wheels are. I'm pretty excited. It seems like it's going to match pretty well, but we'll find out once these are dry.
Yes.
Hey guys, this is the end result of the truck. So as you can see, we got the center caps painted, we got the wheels all powder coated up. They turned out really nice. We also upgraded to the 285/75/16 BF Goodrich all-terrains. They're basically 33 by 11.5 inch wide. They definitely make the truck sit a lot better, have a more aggressive stance, and obviously be better off-road. So yeah, that's the complete upgrade and refresh of the truck. We do have some more cool stuff coming up for this that we do want to do to make it a little bit better off-road and have more fun with it. So stay tuned for that. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the transformation. Like, comment, subscribe on the channel, and thanks for watching Cracked Housing Fab.